All right.
Those are my,
All right, we're going to open the meeting, Economic Development Committee, Wednesday, May 17th. Time is 7:01. We'll start by Pledge Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first order of business is we distributed the minutes at the last meeting. Anyone have, a chance to review them or any comments? So I'm looking for a motion to accept the minutes of March 15th.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Marsh has made the motion to accept the minutes of March 15th. Is there a second? All right, Ellen, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All right. Next up, we'll put Don, we're gonna have Don do his update and then we'll grab, no? Okay. No, Don.
Well, that's just really quick. Just wanted to give you a copy of the official, we call the official award for the scope of services, I guess, for the Economic Development Planning Program. We received the District Local Technical Assistance Award from CMRPC. We're working with them, developing an economic development plan over the course of the next 7 months or so. I'm actually meeting with the representative from the agency on June 6th. We officially start our on that day. She will also be here at the meeting, the joint meeting that we're having on the 21st. So we should be pretty well along by that time in deciding what we're going to do with the scope of services and
Okay.
content of the plan, what the scope of services of the plan itself. So.
Excellent. Yeah, I did reach out to Greg. He said that the 21st would probably be the best for the joint meeting, simply because the new members of the planning board and also the board of selectmen will be seated by then. So at our next meeting, it is scheduled to have the planning board here, the board of selectmen, and then ourselves, and to really get a framework centered around the parameters for the economic development plan.
Questions, comments, anything you'd like me to bring up in that meeting?
No, the one thing on the brochure, on the mapping section,
Oh, yeah.
you know how the back panel pretty much
Yeah,
is
I know,
just the zoning map?
We're not going to get GIS just yet, but hopefully by the end of this, hopefully maybe after the fall town meeting. We'll see. I'll work on it with them, though. That can be part of it. So.
All right, so then we're going to be on our own for that map, then. Like if we wanted to add.
Let's see how we can work with them. I'll bring it up. Sure.
Well, because, depending on how the progress that Barbara and Todd have made, hopefully we're not talking about this brochure in the fall.
Okay. I'll bring up the brochure with them, and as far as the mapping end of it as well.
Yeah.
Do that. Sure, I can do
Because, in looking at the map on the brochure, it's a zoning map, and it's, you're going to hand that out. Our zoning is kind of all over the place.
I think we
hard
can
to
work on
read.
mapping with them, sure. Bring that up.
All right. Fair enough.
Anything else?
Nope, we'll see you on the 21st.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Sam. With us today, I don't know if you want to both come up at the same time and have a discussion. Is it easier that way?
We can do that.
All right, we have.
Are you Tweedledum or am I Tweedledee? Tweedledum.
For those of you that may not know, that's Ed Basnet,
Yep.
Dudley Historical Society, and that's Ken Butkowitz on the Dudley Rail Trail. And he's the fellow I've mentioned a couple of times that pretty much single-handedly, I think with his lawnmower, built those trails.
Pardon me?
You're the one that single-handedly, with your lawnmower, actually made the trails and pulled up all the spikes yourself.
Oh, no. No, all I did was cut trees.
But, the one thing in town is there are a lot of people see a lot of the different resources and assets we have. What a lot of people don't see are the people behind that. And you have an example right there of, people walk the rail trail, they see it. It's all because this man really kind of took ownership of it. Volunteer, and he made it happen. And he continues to make it happen. He's working on the section now by Schofield Ave and Carpenter Road where the bridge is there. And eventually that'll connect through the Blue Heron area. Works very closely with the last Green Valley, and once we complete that final section, they're going to go to bat and try to connect the two rail trails through Connecticut and see what they can do there. But a lot is owed to that man. And then on the other side,
No, I think I'll be retired by then. Long retired.
and I've known Ed for years. He's on the Dudley Historical Society. A lot of the preservation, a lot of the history, as more and more people come to understand the town that they live in and some of the history behind it. That's another example of a man that, with a small group of people there, have really kind of allowed Dudley to recognize where it's been and maybe help us understand where we're going to go. So I thank you both for coming. Just to let the rest of the board know, I did send to Greg to send out to all the department heads the front and back covers. And I did ask for input. I don't know if all the department heads, and I specifically reached out to these two individuals because there was, at the last meeting, we talked about on that front panel, replacing that with maybe a picture of the Black Tavern or something a little bit more Dudley oriented and not generic.
Yeah.
And then also to kind of review some of the language where we have the town of Dudley. And so please provide any input. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. What do you think?
No, it did. It was a kind of a challenge to figure out how I was going to print that thing. Actually, I wound up printing it in 3 different things and cutting it all up and piecing it together. And then I said, okay, now the print's too small. I can't read it. So I back in and read it online. Yeah, I mean, we're willing to work with you on some language stuff there, little pieces we can massage about the history of the town. Also talk about some other things maybe we're missing there, some other photos that we could do to give a broader sweep to the thing. But it's a nice start, it's good to see something showing up, and as we go forward, the next, it seems like it's been 10 years, but over the next maybe 6 or 7 months, the town will be finalizing with the Mass Historic Commission the Dudley Hill Historic District, and part of that we're hoping also to put out a walking tour for those, so you'd understand the buildings, and you go from point A to point B, and it'd all be laid out for you. So as we see these things develop, it's kind of fun to say, okay, there's going to be a lot out there for people to see what we've got here. Not that we want a lot of people to rush in, and disturb us, but for those of us that love the town, there'll be an even better appreciation for what's here.
I have a question for both of you. When you first saw this brochure, what did you sense the purpose was of the
Well,
brochure?
that was my first question. Who's getting this? Yes. If you're looking to attract businesses and industry, that's a different approach than if you're trying to attract families and or tourists, I guess. I don't know. Pretty tough for us. We're not on any really major road, and in fact, a few years ago we tried to get the Mass Pike was giving money away for brochures to attract tourists to your area, and I thought we were going to nail that down, and they dropped that program just about the time our paperwork went in, which was too bad because they were doing some really nice stuff, Charlton in particular, but Charlton is a different locale, it's on a different route, it has a different pull to it than we do. People ask me, well, they'll tell me, they'll say, oh, Ed, I was in Dudley. And I'd say, you were lost. Where were you really going? And that's about it, because they said, well, yeah, I hadn't planned on going there, but I wound up there, or went through it. If we want to be any kind of a destination, we have to promote something that's going to bring somebody in. But I didn't know for sure. I said, I don't know if this goes out to businesses, or if you're really looking for other kinds of growth, or what.
Yeah, please feel free. I mean, open conversation here. I think my sense kind of came in at the tail end of this, was that the brochure was designed so that, if someone was looking to move into the area or come to town hall, they'd be able to say, okay, these are the assets, these are the recreational opportunities, this is the school, this is a little bit about Dudley, kind of a map on the back. As a business tool, if a company was thinking about moving into the area, they'd be able to say, okay, geez, look at all these resources here. This would be a good place for our company not only to move, but our employees to live and work and kind of play in Dudley. I don't know, at the end of the day, we'll figure out if it achieves that goal or not.
Well,
Okay.
when I look at the trails, the rail trails and the water trail, it's attracting people to the community. But when I look at economic development, I have kind of mixed emotion with the brochure. To me, it's targeted more towards making a destination or a family move. As far as pulling businesses into the area, I don't see it. I would have liked to seen more, say, instead of segregating each one of the schools, would have been saying, Dudley has a school system that's founded on needs, and they're grouped by grade, and you could list it that way, and include the graduating class, how many go on to college, how many go on to either a 2-year school or a 4-year school. When you talk about Nichols, you're looking at the master's program as well as the other degrees. I would rather see more of that than verbiage. When I worked in industry many years ago, in another life, you wanted to see a picture, and you wanted to see facts. What's the labor pool? What does it look like? Engineers versus electronics. Does the community have electronic base, or is it a hardcore, old-fashioned New England base? We're converting that. I'd like to see more in tune to industry, or a section of it. You could take a panel out and shorten it up, but I would see. It all depends what your target audience is.
Yeah, in some senses,
Industry is tough. You have you have the rail system coming in. You have some major corporations that are here, but they're getting goods out of town and bringing in a labor pool into town. If you go 10 miles outside of Dudley, what are you competing against?
Yeah.
To me, that if you're targeting industry, or whether it's old style hammer and nail or electronics, you still have to get your goods to market. You're still looking for a labor pool, and that's where I am.
yeah, in some senses, I almost feel as if we're trying to be cover
Yeah,
everything.
it's a panacea of,
And
it can't be a panacea.
Yeah. Any feedback here? I mean,
What do we have for available properties and buildings for any kind of industry looking to come in for office space? Is that going to be on there? I know we
Well-
mentioned we wanted to update the map and show where, what's available on a map. And
it's easier to, the property inventory is easier to do on the website. I sent a follow-up email to Greg as well. We submitted a proposal to the Board of Selectmen in January where we wanted to go out to bid for the real estate, to select a real estate agency to actually partner on the website.
Right.
And the reason why we wanted to go out to bid is we wanted to be fair. We wanted the best overall value for the town. We didn't want someone to say, why did you pick this realtor over that realtor? So a very open, transparent process. And so hopefully the Board of Selectmen will give us the go-ahead to put that out to bid. And once we actually secure a real estate agency that we can partner with, we can actually have those commercial properties show up on the website, almost like little widgets. We could have, Webster actually does it. Aura sent it over the other day. Her office was just happening to be looking at the town of Webster's website, and, they have a list of all the commercial properties, and they have these nice little property sheets, that the commercial agencies have put on there. We can do that as well. So originally, we were thinking about putting properties on here, but
come and go.
that's right. You're gonna hard print.
The only trouble, if you put properties in there, then you limit yourself to the publication. That means you're gonna have to go through and update that. You're not listing the properties, but listing the realtors that specialize in industrial, not so much residential, but commercial properties. And how many commercial properties do we have? I like to see less verbiage.
Yeah, there is a lot of verbiage in it.
Yeah, because verbiage I'll probably put aside on my desk, and it will go in pile A or B or C, depending on the day of the week. But yeah, if I'm want to relocate or build or expand the business, I want some hardcore. I want to know what is available to me. What is my competition in that 10 to 20 mile area? You go 20 miles and you're in Worcester. You got Auburn, and Charlton is developing. And of course you have Oxford, which has been very successful in drawing. But they also have the highway there.
Yeah.
We don't have a good highway.
So question for the other members of the board. I mean, after looking at these drafts, has your opinion changed in any way on the brochure, the direction it should take? What areas that should be eliminated or expanded upon?
I think that by the time you overthink it, it doesn't matter. I think you can overthink this for so long, you never get it forward to get the input from the result of having put it out. It was designed to give an overview. If I were looking for a site, I would be going to your town hall. I might have scouted the internet, but I would be coming here to talk to your administrator, your planning board, round up whatever materials they have out that I could easily take with me if I was a company owner, for my people who might live there, for me, for my company itself, and be able to view that information. It's an overview. Then somebody has to see how much of it, the needs it meets. Zoning is not anything that we're gonna control. This brochure isn't gonna control zoning. If I'm looking to put my company here, I have somebody looking for a 10-acre site right now. I can go to any town with them. It's about the zoning. So it's about what's available for land and what the zoning need meets.
So the zoning part of it was a little concerning because our zoning is always changing, and after the economic development plan, it'll probably go through a major overhaul again. Do we want to put the zoning on here? Or do we want that map to be a little bit more generic? Simpler for the eye to see?
You know, when the company down on Schofield Avenue, the electronics company, was moving into town, one of the things that nailed them coming to town was hooking up extending the sewer line to accommodate them. That's what they came before the selectmen, was to extend the sewer line. If I have a, if you look at Boniface, they're out in the boondocks between Dudley and Southbridge. Yet they're doing well, but if they had a sewer line, how much more could they expand their business? Or could it attract other businesses that they're associated with? We couldn't even do the rental on the old Stevens Linen because of the sewage problem, I believe. When Oxford was extending the sewer line, Dudley was brought in at the 11th hour and asked to sign off for our little connector, the line going through Dudley. We should have been in the early beginning of it and could have run the sewer line down
Oxford Ave.
pardon me?
Down Oxford Ave.
Yeah. I mean, you're crossing the bridge and there's already a sewer line across the bridge without crossing the bridge again in Webster. So you have 2 points where there's a possibility of a failure by a sewer line crossing water, open water. It would have been easier to go right down. But there again, and we have an identity problem besides that. If you go into Thompson, you're going from Thompson to Dudley, and you come to the fork in the road. The sign on the right-hand side says Webster. The sign on the left says Quinnebog and Southbridge, no Dudley. You look at the National Geographical Survey map. The two maps are both labeled Webster. One of the maps is all Dudley, but it's labeled, both maps are labeled Webster. We have an identity problem. We have the land available to use for industry, but we also need some infrastructure for that land. And Joanne knows well that we tried that industrial park, but one of the drawbacks again was the sewer line connector.
So Ken, if I'm hearing you right, almost kind of like in support of Joanne there, are you saying that this piece should be at 10,000 foot, but more of an identity piece to kind of let everybody know a little bit about everything Dudley has, and if they want more information, go to somewhere else to get it? More details, or?
Yeah, I mean, if you're driving on the road, and you want to get to Dudley, it doesn't say Dudley, unless you have a GPS or you have an old-fashioned map that says Dudley. But then it puts Dudley on the center of Dudley on Dudley Hill.
No.
I guess I gotta disagree with what we're trying to accomplish. I think we all think we're more important than we are. Number one, the brochure is to whet somebody's appetite, to see about Dudley, see if it's got any interest for them for bringing their business in, about the community, about the zoning, about the facility. The people who are gonna sell anybody coming into this town to relocate are not our 5 people sitting here, nor you two. They are the people that are the full-time people in the town hall who are the employees they're gonna come in and talk to, the administrator, the planner, the highway department, because they're going to get their information firsthand, not out of a brochure and not totally out of a website. It's designed to create interest. It's not designed to answer every question that could occur. I don't know how many of you are on the Chamber of Commerce. I am. How many are on the Webster Dudley Business Alliance? I am. Why? Because I'm in business. And we're the people who care about businesses coming in. But when I scout an area, it's an overview that gets my interest, and then it's the next part of the specifics I need to meet what it is I'm looking for. And then it's about talking to people. You can create all the websites you want in the world, but if I come in here and I don't get a good reception from the planner for the information I need, or from anybody that's handling zoning, or the building department, I'm going to a different town. That's the way it's gonna be. If you're not business receptive, that's the biggest impression. We're spending so much time on a brochure that's supposed to just get your interest, but not handle everything. I may be wrong, I don't know, but that's how I do business. I don't do it with paper, I do it with people.
Yeah, I thought when I looked at it, there was a little too much detail in some areas. I said, I don't need to know all of these things now. I need to know they have recreation, they have some history, they have some developable area, you know, rough idea of the kind of people that live there and the population, and say, all right, that sounds like something I can work with, then be directed to the specifics, but not try to cover everybody's needs, you know. They're not gonna be interested in the fact that we have scenic roads, you know, not an issue to them, not yet.
Yeah.
Later on, they may be interested to know that there are groups available, you know, that are interested in these things and there's hiking available and those kinds of recreational things. Little piece on recreation, little chunk on education. Excellent educational system, you know, high standards, whatever. And move them on from there, because in this day and age, this electronic day and age, gotta have it somewhere else though, where they can just quickly get to it and
Yeah.
bring it up. Because I'm still astounded. Takes us old people, takes us a while to train us up.
Beg your pardon?
But we have to go and say, oh, wait, I have a tablet right here that's gonna tell me that answer in about 3 minutes. And then I go, wow. But just a little teaser, just enough flavor of where and who we are. But like I said, I don't know where you get that brochure. If that's in the town hall, you gotta get them into the town hall to get it. If it's part of your online thing and it's the first overview, then they can quickly get it, and then they're directed elsewhere. But it's tough, and everything changes
Yeah.
very quickly, so it's good to have it electronic, so. But nice to have a few kicking around somewhere. I don't know. Tough job you guys have. I think you
So
should be
much tougher
just
than our
serving
jobs.
donuts in the morning, you know? It's-
Stand on Main Street with a boot?
I think the ideal is what John would like. We get it both ways. We need to get funded to get this even online, and we need to have it available that when people, if I have a relocator, we put together a packet we send out on information on a community. You must find that at the college when people are scouting. It's not just what your online presence is, it's about all the things that you put together, what I call propaganda. I have to put together a propaganda package,
The
so.
sales pitch, yeah.
So if we could get this online ultimately and get the money to do that too, besides this, then I would be happy. We'd both be happy.
Yeah, because more and more, I mean, people really want Dudley to be a bedroom community. They don't want the hammer factories and everything else. So, right, so in order to,
As a taxpayer, I'm not necessarily happy about that.
but, right, so if you're not gonna bring in industry, and you're gonna bring in just a handful of companies, well, then you're gonna have to do it with growth of your residences to increase your new growth that way. So, you know, if we can make Dudley the place to be, the place to live with the highest quality of life, you know, with high-quality services, can you get some additional tax revenue that way? And then, of course, we want businesses just like Webco. We want Henke Sass. I mean, if we could get a handful of those, ideal.
You know, it's, you know, IPG, you know, that
IPG Photonics, perfect
Uh,
example.
we've been in contact with them. You know, if they're building and building and building, pretty soon they're gonna be built out of Oxford. Where are they gonna build next? You know, have we?
Well, they can't move across the line anymore because a couple years back, they spot zoned it back to residential. So even if they wanted to, they couldn't. Now, hopefully it'll be fixed this town meeting, where it just goes back to industrial.
But, you know, I guess, you know,
There's no plan, and that's where when we're gonna open the public hearing, is to really develop that economic plan that everyone's on the same page for once.
your target audience has to be, you know, maybe you need 2 brochures,
I don't think so.
not 2?
No, I don't
It'll
think
take
so.
us 4 years. This has been 2 years so far for one.
I hear you.
I think, again, your biggest asset to any community is something we can't get to yet, and that's having a paid person who really looks to bring people in on a regular basis. We're not there yet. In other towns, your planner is aggressive in that contact when he's been contacted with people to come in a community. We've just gotten back a planner. So we're still in baby steps. That's where we are, and we have to know that if you're gonna contact, you wanna talk to the person who can give you answers, not the 7th time around. You're gonna wanna talk to the people who are knowledgeable about the town to begin with, to answer some of the things as a company, why you will locate into that. And I think that's full-time people. You're not gonna track down Joanne Simzak to have a conversation with her when you're trying to make a major corporate decision of whether you're gonna put a business in this community.
You know, you look at it, you have a company that's from Germany, you have a company from France that's in town. You have a company that really has no infrastructure to it and is doing well. So I think there's a desire to locate here, but
You gotta know who we are.
Yeah.
They gotta find us.
Yeah.
like I said, we have an identity crisis. Or problem, not a crisis, but a problem. The state doesn't recognize us. Connecticut, I mean, if you have to go through the Dudley to get to Webster. So why not have the sign say Dudley, Webster? Or Quinnebog, Dudley, Southbridge?
I think in residential, you don't have a problem, because I can tell you, selling enough houses, people I deal with, when they cross the bridge, they know they've come in another town.
Yeah,
They
they're
know
coming-
they know the difference of the feel of having driven through the main street, and then I have to explain, you don't ever have to go through the main street again. We'll teach you how to get to the back roads to pick up the roads, because nobody likes the main street coming in from the other community. We have the advantage, sign or no sign, we feel different the minute you drive into this, and you go over that bridge. I haven't met anybody who doesn't sense it right off the bat.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah, the Land Trust has a wonderful map that they created of their properties.
Oh.
And you've created some pretty good rail trail maps. How did you get those maps done?
I went to CMRPC,
Oh, they did it for you?
and they did the mapping for me.
Okay.
They took the aerial photo. We originally, when we started in 2006, we spent between Southbridge and Dudley, the funds were around $20,000. We had an airplane fly over the river and map it. We could have done the same thing with a satellite, but at that time, they wanted orthographic maps. So that's how that started.
Okay.
And we went to the assessor's office, we went to CMRPC, we married the two together, and that was the beginning of the map.
This Dominique Tremble, she told me that mapping is her expertise at CMRPC, so
You know, because I would like that map, I mean, to say like, this is like businesses allowed, right? And just kind of generalize it. Because we get the right opportunity. I think the planning board and the residents would actually, would step up. And if zoning needed to be amended to accommodate, say, another Hanky Sass or IPG moving in, that if it's the right area, that there's that flexibility. And I just looked at that zoning map on the back of that brochure and said, that is the scariest darn thing. That's not gonna attract any business.
That's not gonna do it.
And so I love the maps that you guys did where, you know, to look at it quickly and say, okay, businesses, here's your infrastructure, as you said. And oh, look, here's some conservation land and, you know, just.
But that was, again, that was with CMRPC.
Okay.
And that was funded through the earmark that we originally had. The orthographic map cost us $20,000. The work with CMRPC, a lot of the work was done because the planning board goes to the CMRPC meetings and they get credit for going. So those credits were applied to the
Okay.
mapping. And no expenditure on our part.
Well, I guess if everyone on this board got some crayons, because we don't have $20,000. And maybe we kind of draw our own.
Yeah, I know the Webster Dudley Business Association, I hope I got that right, has just put out a map. And it asked members, and they're identified on the map because they coughed up money to be on it. And I saw the mock-up, I haven't seen the final. I just haven't gotten down to Webster where it is to pick mine up. But I liked the way that it was quick, but it was more for, not businesses, but for somebody generally to get a feel for the thing. It shows the towns, shows the roads, main roads through, and it just says, here's a town hall, there's a town hall, here's a walking trail, you know, here's where you can get this business and that business. But it was one of those easily identifiable things. So it wasn't a zoning map. But I like your idea, you know, if there were 3 colors, this is residential, period. This is industrial, okay, and whatever your third choice is, or fourth flavor, I don't care. But something where they can quickly say, all right, there seems to be a lot of room here to build in. And, you know, they can get a feel for the town and say, wow, there's a lot of residential or farm or whatever, however you want to break it out. But you know, it's again, who do you want to catch and where do you catch them first, and then move them on to your electronic site.
All right. Does anybody have anything else to add?
But we're a small town. I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it. I still like coming here to do business in this building than going to Webster, where you know you may be in the cellar. You haven't been in their downtown cellar there, or Oxford, where all their furniture's in the hallway. And I go, how do these towns survive with such an ugly town hall? And it looks badly functioning. And you go, I don't want to even be in that building. And here, you've got room, you can move around, you can see people.
Yeah.
You just got to get them in the building, and then program all our people. So good luck.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you both for coming.
All right.
So with the brochure, I mean, it's a shame on Barbara and Todd because they're kind of on point on this. We have to, well, I did get PJ followed up on the Nichols stuff. So we have the language for Nichols, and then they sent over a nice, you know, high-def image for the bottom panel there. I think, you know, by removing the students, is, you know, helps with probably with a privacy issue when we don't have to pay royalties or something. And then that Nichols sign here that we had, they're looking to replace that image. I agree with with the education piece, there's no reason to list all these individual schools. We got to really cut down this verbiage. Almost try to get like a third. But, you know, we all need to row this boat together. This stuff just doesn't happen. The brochure, the text is still the same text from the website. There have been no submissions for modifications of text. So I would really like to get this brochure done and over with, because it's really coming to the point where it's almost a distraction to our mission.
Absolutely. It's a negative. It's dragging us down. Yeah.
So if we can at least all, over the next, I mean, we can share the information. We don't have to comment on it, but between now and the next meeting, if we can just hit the different panels and say, what do you think really needs to just be said here? And I agree. You know, if we could cut this education section down into a nice bold paragraph with larger text, I mean, we can't read it on the computer,
Yeah, no. Yeah.
right?
Is there a way to get it, like, just as the word, as the text version of it, as opposed to trying to open up?
No, the only thing that we have been provided is the PDF. My understanding is it's some, what do they call those, desktop publishing program that they actually use, that the publisher uses. I've never met them. I mean, Barbara
I
and
just wonder
Todd.
if we could even copy and paste so that we could have a,
It sure would be nice, wouldn't
it'd be a
it?
lot easier to try to do some editing to it if it was that way.
Well, the other part, you get carried away, and people do this in advertising all the time, they want to say more because they spent money. White space gets you more in the long run than a lot of print, so get to the key things, leave some white space, the pictures surrounded by some, and that's it. It's not, we're not getting paid by the word here to get this done. I think you want to draw the attention to it, then you do have to do less wording.
All right,
Maybe on the website is where you elaborate a little bit more because it's not
Exactly.
gonna cost you as much, and I've got the freedom to just scroll.
so what I can do is I can take screenshots of this PDF. I'll take screenshots of the panels. I mean, so you're gonna get, you know, probably over, you know, I can't do anything till probably like Monday or Tuesday of next week. But I'll take screenshots and let's tackle each panel.
Okay.
And let's just get the text done. And then I'll get the information from Barbara, who, I've never met the printer, but we gotta get this thing
We
off our
do.
plates.
It's like a monkey on our back.
Yes,
It's driving
it
me
is.
nuts.
Joanne, were you happy with the map we saw on the Charlton one? And what was depicted on that one?
Again, we still have got 5 different focal points of what the map's gonna accomplish. I like his idea of keeping it simple. Yes, I liked the map before, but I'm in the business of real estate, so I look at maps maybe different than everybody else. I know what I'm looking for on the map that I wanna target on, but if somebody were just coming cold into an area, maybe it's gotta be more simplistic to hit those things. I liked the Charlton brochure. I
Yeah.
guess I was the only one who did,
No,
but I liked it. I
I
thought it
was-
was very nicely done,
No,
but.
it wasn't you. It was I was attracted to it too. I think I was the one who brought it in at first, and it was right to the point, and the purpose of that brochure is economic development, and to me, it addressed what we were looking for. But when you're dealing with 7 different people, everybody has
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
view, different
Yep.
angle.
And
So-
think about it, where was that brochure? It was in the planning department, people. That's where it was at.
Yes, yeah.
That's the guy you want to talk to if you're gonna go into a town and do development. That's my friend. And then that's a nice, you should never leave when you meet with something, if it's business first, trying to sell them, without something in the hand. It's got your name, and that's what the brochure did. You left with something he could give you, that gave you the overview to think about. Granted, you could go on the internet, but leaving with something in your hand with the name, the contact person, all that stuff, it's always good.
The person who did theirs does all the maps for national parks, and they're familiar with mapping and so on and so forth. I don't remember the costs, but it wasn't that bad.
All right, I'll try to do some homework and see what kind of mapping options are out there. Who knows, maybe there's a software package. Make your own maps. You know, I don't know. You know, that we can do it without paying any royalty or
And again,
licensing fee.
are we overthinking it? Is the purpose to get them in to talk to us, or is the purpose to give them all the answers they have so they don't need to talk to us?
No, just generalizing, right? Again, if we can just say, okay, general shade, here's along Main Street, this is your business kind of area, this is your mixed use, and this is all residential, you know? And then here's your trails, and, you know, this is your shopping plaza, you know? These are where your schools are located.
So you're saying that online, the text is almost too small to read?
Oh,
Everywhere.
yeah, I can't read that.
Yeah, everywhere we go.
Yeah.
But again, the printer who put this together literally just took the text off the website. And I said, you can't do that.
Right.
We have to write unique text for each panel.
And you need one writer, so it's one voice.
Mhm.
One hands in the soup here.
Don't have any students up at Nichols who'd like to do some writing for us as a town project?
All right, so look forward to some screenshots, and
Okay.
what I may do is I may make sure that the picture, I do think it's important that we promote the existing businesses like, you know, Gentex, Webco, you know, Hunky Sass, you know, make sure that they're okay with their pictures and how they're described.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the verbiage for them is from our website, or did they
Yeah,
submit?
no, it's all from the website.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm gonna take ownership of at least this panel and try to get that done with those guys by the next meeting. All right. Next on the agenda, we're gonna officially, I almost should have opened the public hearing prior, because this was great input from Ed and Ken. But I'm gonna officially open the public hearing now for the 5-year economic development plan for the town of Dudley. This public hearing is going to be a continuing public hearing. So we're opening it at 7:47 on May 17th. And we won't close it, we'll just continue it from meeting to meeting. I have it posted, you know, with the town clerk. Michelle posted the joint meeting for the 21st. And that's all gonna be part of the public hearing process. And that way, we just can assemble all the information, and at the end of the day, put together a solid economic development plan. As we get more and more visibility, you may have people approach you on the side and share business ideas. Please share them, you know, with the board, and make it a part of the public record. Just last night, people were talking to me about, you know, the possibility of looking at vineyards in Dudley. You know, I guess there used to be some vineyards. I mean, if you look at I don't know if you've gone to the North Fork of Long Island. They were struggling. It was corn country not too long ago. And you go to the North Fork of Long Island today, and it is like Napa Valley. And the arts, the culture, the economy is absolutely booming. And they've made this huge tourist industry out of old cornfields. So there could be validity there. And so those are the kind of ideas that if people at home, if you have brainstorms, share them with people here, go online, send us a comment. What do you think we need in Dudley? And is there anything anyone would like to add right now for the public hearing, or we'll just get the ball rolling and get it started? And then June 6th, I'll see, I may try to jump in on that meeting with Don and CMRPC. And then it's really important that everyone really try to make June 21st, especially since that's with the other boards.
Mm-hmm.
So you that sit on the planning board, and are you gonna have like 2 seats?
no, my tenure on the planning board will end
Oh,
at
okay.
the town election date. So no, just 1 seat.
All right.
And I was in the same meeting with you, and it wasn't just vineyards that were mentioned, but I this is a new concept to me, but I guess there's such a thing as beercations. Is that what you-
Yeah, that's another
And I
one,
guess
so.
beer is getting just as popular as wine.
Absolutely, craft brewers, yeah.
And people stay at hotels for beer tastings and so forth, so. And I know there are a few, what do you call it, craft beer places in the area. So, another thought.
Yeah, last night, we were both at a meeting, Representative Durant was there. And we asked him, you know, part of the thing that we were looking at, it was actually brought up at the candidates forum too, is, you know, parents coming over to visit kids at Nichols. Where do they stay? Right? They gotta go to Auburn or Sturbridge. And so the Airbnb. Wouldn't you know, the Senate and the House are gonna try to tax the Airbnbs and keep 100% of the revenue. Right? So here the little town of Dudley saying, oh, maybe we can do like, almost like a little lodging tax and promote Airbnbs. State's gonna take that money from us.
Yeah, of course.
You can't win. So, but I think, you know, the world is changing, you know, the whole idea, I mean, just think of the whole idea of Airbnbs 20 years ago, non-existent, right? You have Ubers today instead of taxis. And so I think, you know, whatever economic plan that we develop needs to really kind of keep in mind how fast technology is evolving it and be flexible. Would you like to add anything?
I was noticing when I went to Worcester the other day that up in the Grafton Hill area, there's no telephone poles. And when I was going through Southbridge, that main road there's no telephone poles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in the future. But
Yeah, and actually Dudley, I think it's still on the books in the subdivision, right? I mean, all new developments have to have underground utilities, right? Is that still on the books?
I believe so.
Yeah.
it's good.
And then the scenic road bylaws, sort of good and bad, right? I mean, the good part is they allow you to kind of keep some natural beauty where there are no overhead poles and stuff. But on the bureaucratic side, you can't do anything without a public hearing. So if Danny and the highway crew needs to cut a tree, they gotta hold a public hearing for it. And so it's that balance of, you know, too much government is not a good thing, and you don't want to be bureaucratic, but you want to kind of preserve, so it's that razor's edge. All right, so what we'll do is, we're gonna continue, the public hearing on, June 21st. Next on the agenda is just a reminder to everybody that the annual town meeting is Monday, May 22nd, 7 p.m. at Shepherd Hill High School. PJ, we do have that article on the warrant for the 2 alternate members. So that is there.
Okay.
Other than that, there was nothing else that we had there.
Can I clarify something,
Sure.
just for the newbie? The joint meeting will be here in this
Yes.
place? Okay.
Yes. And that'll be with the Board of Selectmen, the Planning Board, us, and then Central Mass Regional Planning. We'll probably kind of start it off. What I'm anticipating is that they're gonna do a presentation, and then we'll make sure we're all in sync with each other. Because, we've discussed it, the plan is only good if everybody executes on what they're supposed to do on it. Otherwise, like the master plan, nice effort, sits on the shelf for 17 years.
Yeah.
All right, is there any new business, anything someone would like to add that isn't on this?
Probably the only thing is, there are gonna be openings on different boards. If people don't step up to the plate, nobody's gonna be holding meetings if they don't have quorums. So if people have interest in planning, they better give that some thought to see about being a participant on something like that. I don't know how zoning board is holding up, but you're gonna have, what, a couple of vacancies,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that will immobilize them.
the town is desperate for volunteers. We have so many openings on so many different boards right now.
Well, part of it is, you can drag, classic example, you can drag things out. People want things to have a beginning and an end on a plan and move it forward, and if they did their part, they can feel like they've done their part and maybe move on to something else that interests them. But If you feel like it's a very long commitment and you are trapped in this, you're not gonna move forward. We need to get some of there are newer people who've moved into the community, there are people with skills that would really enhance our boards, but they need to know we want them. They're not local people per se. A lot of them are transplants from well out of the area. So I think it's important at every meeting we say, we want you, please submit your name, we'd love to see you be involved in the community.
Fair enough.
All right, so seeing no more business, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that
Okay,
motion.
Marcia. Ellen, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, 7:55. Thank you, Fred.